This is the story of how America traded its front porches for garages, and in doing so, completely reshaped the way neighbors interact, communities form, and families live. Back in 1870, nearly every new house in America featured a prominent front porch. But by the 1960s, the front porch had practically vanished, replaced by a gaping garage door that consumed a full third of a home's front exterior. So, how did we get here? The porch is a distinctly American architectural form, with roots in African dwellings where a large covered space served as the center for social and commercial life. By the late 19th century, porches were everywhere. Andrew Jackson Downing, the founder of American landscape architecture, believed that interacting with nature had a healing effect, and that front porches brought families closer to that influence. Before air conditioning existed, people even slept on screened-in sleeping porches to catch cool nighttime breezes and ward off tuberculosis. Then came the automobile. The Federal Road Act of 1916 and the Federal Highway Act of 1921 transformed cars from luxury items into everyday necessities. By 1925, real estate agents reported that most homebuyers were asking about garages. In 1921, C.G. Johnson invented the overhead garage door. 5 years later, he invented the electric opener. The infrastructure for a garage-centered home was now in place. As streets grew noisier with traffic, families retreated from their porches toward the back of the house. Then, Willis Carrier's air conditioning, first installed commercially in 1902, began reaching ordinary homes. By the early 1970s, over half of American households had AC. Today, that number is 89%. Air conditioning sealed the deal. Why sit outside in the heat when you could retreat into climate-controlled comfort? When Levittown was built, starting in 1947, those original 750-square-foot homes had no garages at all. By 1950, carports were added. By the late 1950s, over 70% of new suburban homes featured attached garages. By 1990, 72% of new homes accommodated at least two vehicles. By 1999, that figure hit 81%. Meanwhile, the American home itself ballooned. In 1950, the average new home was 983 square feet. By 2014, it was 2,657 square feet. But here's the twist. Average household size dropped from 4.34 people in 1920 to 2.54 today. More space, fewer people. This created what critics call the snout house, a home where a protruding garage dominates the street frontage. Portland City Commissioner Charlie Hales put it bluntly, these houses don't just turn their backs to the street, they ignore the street completely. All they present is the blank, sightless opening of the garage doors. Portland ultimately banned snout houses, requiring that no more than 50% of a home's front wall be occupied by the garage. And what do Americans actually keep in these garages? A UCLA study of 32 Los Angeles families found that 75% of them didn't even use their garages for parking. The garage had become America's most cluttered room, a storage unit attached to the house. But something interesting is happening now. The American porch is coming back. New homes built with porches climbed from 42% in 1994 to 66% in 2022. The COVID pandemic played a role as porches became a safe way to socialize. The new urbanism movement, pioneered by architects like Andres Duany and Elizabeth Plater-Zyberk in places like Seaside, Florida, has championed porch-forward design for decades. And the 2025 Venice Architecture Biennale dedicated an entire exhibition to the porch, calling it an architecture of generosity. At the same time, garages are actually shrinking, driven by rising land costs and the simple reality that modern pickup trucks barely fit inside them anymore. So America may be slowly rediscovering what it lost. The porch was never just architecture, it was an invitation. And for the first time in decades, more Americans are choosing to extend one.